see subsistence farming becoming a solution to the current food insecurity that many Nigerians are facing.
Go and buy it in the market. I say, no, what I'm buying, what I'm getting here is better than the quality that I'm receiving from the market. Most times, the food that gets to you is not the high quality one that you can get in your house if you use your compost and your manure.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Conversations Over Coffee, coming to you from Gringo TV. In Nigeria today, where we currently have 133 million people classified as multidimensionally poor, food insecurity has become the reality of many in the society. I mean, you go to the market today with a 50,000 naira budget, probably best believe you're going to leave there having spent 100,000 naira buying the same things you plan to buy initially, and that's even for those that can afford to go over their budget. But what if I tell you that one of the solutions to this is quietly growing in your backyard? Well, hold that thought, because I have a very special guest to take us through today's conversation. Joining me is Belinda Aderonke Odeneye, former permanent secretary in the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and an environmentalist who, long after the official title, is still in the service of sustainability and the push towards a circular economy. And all of this she does from her home. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, Ma. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very great. How are you? Thank you
I'm
for
very
inviting.
well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us as well. So we want to start with at the beginning, where all of this started from. I want to ask, what first inspired you to start this sustainable living system that you have built even in your house? Was it a moment or probably a memory while you were growing up, or it was just something that you saw, that there was this gap and you wanted to fill it? Just let us know how this all started with you.
Thank you very much. I would say that it's a combination of a lot of things. First, when we're growing up, our parents used to have some basic plants in the house, like, oh, go and bring me some bitter leaf from just in front of the house, a little garden. So it's like a normal thing to have a little garden. So growing up, marrying, and having a little space, I just had a bit of bitter leaf, a bit of what we call amunu tutu, which is a Malabar spinach, and maybe a tree or so. We had a bit of mango tree growing, but of course, sometimes you just cut it off. You don't really know the value. But as I was growing up and starting my career as an environmentalist, each training I go for, I just feel, oh, let me put in what I've learned. So the first thing I learned was about rainwater harvesting. I should not waste rainwater. I started harvesting rain. Even when I didn't have the proper infrastructure, I would just put buckets and containers at the various points that the rain is pouring and use it to water my plants. I've always been a plant lover, but the passion increased. So there was a bit of a passion in there. Then, of course, the environmental. I did industrial chemistry for the first degree, so I used plants to actually check the antimicrobial activity on human being using rats. I used a plant called Acalif. So that's people normally use it to do little babies Ela, they call the thing Ela or Alifo. They just wash it, boil it, and all. So when I had kids, my mother-in-law was referring always to that plant. Don't give them just medicine in the mouth. The thing comes from the inside. Wash the inside, give a little of the tincture or the concoction, and they'll be fine. And I was like, no. So I always prefer to put the cream on the body and all that. But I started learning that it works. So I bought snail this very special day. And by the time we got to Lagos that day, the traffic, it was like 11 p.m. So we didn't have a chance to break it, wash it. So I just left it on the ground, covered it with a basket. And when I got up the next day, I saw loads of yellow eggs. Wow. And I just heard in my spirit, oh, don't eat your egg, don't break them. So that's how I started snaring. And I found out that they eat every of the things that we waste away. the watermelon back end, the water leaf, all those things. And then I also had someone who sells fruits around the corner who normally cuts them into bowls. So she also started supplying me. So my maid would just go pick it. So it was just I was just enjoying the secularity. And this I'm what I'm saying should be like 20 years ago. So but it was fun. But I learned a lot from it, the secularity, and that there's really nothing to waste. Zero waste is achievable. It is not rocket science. We had to go places in terms of teaching people how to do compost in the house. So I started myself and I started using it to plant what I eat. And I saw because I don't have space in terms of, and the place we bought is already cemented. So I thought, well, you can do in containers. And I found out that container you can get so much from containers. You can do your yam in bags. We've been eating yam from bags. I have turmeric in bags. I have garlic and the chives, and also lots of fruits, even in tires. My mulberry grows in tires, old tires. So I just felt, well, let me share it. If that's the impact and I can give and the contribution I can share with what we've been doing. So this is like a journey of 35 years, and now I'm almost 4 years retired. So going to like 39 years. So it's been a journey of environmental chemistry, environmental pollution control. For it all, it's just you may not be able to grow everything, but you're just so happy the little that you can grow. This morning I was going to eat. I said, oh, I shouldn't just take plain rice. I just went, took some veggies and just put it on top. It's fresh. You are the one growing it. You are the one watering it. I give my plants a lot of herbs in terms of the things that are dry. I soak them in water and give them compost tea. So it's like they don't just drink water. You feed them with compost. All the food waste that go to the drain and that are going to the landfill should never go there. So I feel sick when I see a bin that is littered and it has nylon bags, it has single-use plastics, it has food waste, and flies are just, going about. I'm like, oh, this is money, and this is a wonderful soil enhancer that they should use rather than mixing everything together. You see the stalk of ewedu, okra, and veggies in the bin. What's he looking for there? Just put it in a bucket, a little bit of soil becomes manure for you. Use it for your surroundings. So, but the issue I always get, oh, I don't have that space. So that's why I'm doing the container thing. Even the water bottle of the water, plastic bottle water, you just cut it into two, put holes in them. If you have wall on your side, hang it. If you don't have, put it in containers. So those are the kind of things that I find myself doing.
All right. So thank you. You said quite a lot. Really, you went deep into that, and really thank you for taking us through that journey. I see it's really been a very beautiful journey. But now let's come to the current situation that, of course, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of food insecurity that many Nigerians are facing. And I mean, you are proposing this solution. How would you see, or how do you see subsistence farming becoming a solution to the current food insecurity that many Nigerians are facing, even for those that might not have the opportunity to build, to have such a lovely and, that kind of garden in their compound and all of that. How do you see this as being the next step to, address food insecurity, at the community level, and even going beyond communities, even to the government, trying to implement these systems in different aspects of our community or our society?
Well, it's a very simple thing, but I believe the first thing, it should start with passion and interest. Because even with the small, when I started small, I didn't just get to this level. It was just one small bucket, one small container. But it was just about keeping it. And what I found in nature is that, as I said, I plucked veggies. As soon as you pluck the veggies that you need and you put back the stalk in the soil, something else grows. And we're blessed in a nation that we're in Nigeria. You just put some seeds, you throw it out carelessly, and it's growing. So, but for this to address the issue, we have to be intentional. We have to plan it. We have to be deliberate. So, okay, I want to plant some food. I've heard people joking, your own is too much. Go and buy it in the market. I said, no, what I'm buying, what I'm getting here is better than the quality that I'm receiving from the market. Most times, the food that gets to you is not the high quality one that you can get in your house if you use your compost and your manure and you give it compost tea and all that. So, for me, it's a joy to just so if you have that if you develop the passion bit by bit, start with what interests you or maybe an ailment that you normally have. For me, I love my oregano and I quickly get irritated with cough, cold and all. By the time I put oregano in water, mint with my tea, a little bit of honey, I'm fine. So that's how I started with the things that I needed. So and then there's some things that grow easily, so you can put that those ones also in container. So let me get to the level of I don't have space, I live in a community right now. I'm growing snake tomatoes and they're climbing everywhere. So I'm like, okay, it's not for only me. My driver, my cleaner, my all of them, they take out of it. Even when it goes to the next door, we share it. So I can imagine the thing growing naturally, and there's a space to the level of the government, giving space for people to communally come together and plant something would be a very nice thing because we already have good soil. It's rainy season now, things grow very quickly. So for me, I only, when people ask for the herbs, all those specially made things, those are the ones I sell. Basically, all the vegetables, bitter leaf, all that. I just call people, come cut and take away. We share. So I think that the passion first, being deliberate, being intentional, planning it, and knowing that when you put this seed in the ground, as you open that snake tomato, as massive as it is, the seeds that come out of it, when you put it in the ground, I give it 4 days, it's sprouting already. In like 2 months, it is ready for harvesting. And it's so sweet. It has a nice smell. And I did not know it until tomatoes were expensive and there were issues. And I was like, oh, so my cleaner comes from the east, says, oh, we eat it in the village. I said, well, why did it stop? Why are some things dying out? Why can't we keep increasing the things that we have? Why is it that we don't see some species anymore? Why are they getting extinct? I said, you people are lazy. You don't want to put your hands to the ground. And what has happened is her children, when I say, oh, pick that up, they first look at their fingers. And I'm like, what's wrong with your finger? You go and wash it with soap. When you put your hands to the ground, some happy hormones will come out of you. You'll be happy that you're tilling and you're
Mm,
doing something. It should be a part of us. We
mm,
should wake up to agriculture, actually. We should eat from our garden. We should try something. If you don't have space, you have a balcony, you have an entrance, there's no space that you cannot try. The other thing that is really, I saw very, very wonderfully is someone just gave me sweet potato vines and I just put it in the ground. You need to see how it's spreading and I'm like, please let it continue to spread so that when the harvest come, we'll all share it. And what's bad in not going to buy something in the market and getting it from your garden, fresh and nice, even if
mm,
you eat just a bit. The plantain that we harvested from our compound, when we wanted to do the plantain, poundo plantain, we did it with the skin because we knew the story that he grew in the compound and we just washed it, we cut it, and the green one, we boiled it and we now use the poundo machine to pound it and it was so lovely. It tastes so different,
mm.
no stress, no pollution. It has not gone through traveling and fuel has poured on it, and
Yeah.
also it's a win-win. And then for me it's a joy.
Mm,
Maybe now that I am retired, like this morning I've gone to the garden. That's why I chose this time. The morning I say hello to them, talk to them. I say, you grow, what's wrong with you? Why are you looking yellow and all that? You
mm,
you need water. Okay, this, oh, I see some pest on some, and then you just see butterflies jumping around, you know jumping from this one
mm.
to this one, and I'm like, wow, it's pollinating, it's fertilizing, and so it's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
joy to be with nature for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
it's something to cultivate. The other thing that made me do it also is the fact that I just needed to separate my waste. And food waste basically in Nigeria is our mainstay. We have like 40% wet waste, and we can just put it into the
Mm,
garden. Even if you don't have a big garden, you can put it in a container with holes. Banana peels themselves, if you put the water, if you soak it in water and give the plants, they'll be radiant. They love it. So many of the things that we just throw away. So they have no business mixing with general waste in the bin. We should
mm,
separate our recyclables, we should separate our food waste and make something out of it. So I graduated to compost tumbler. First, I started using buckets with holes. Then I graduated to a locally fabricated one where we'll be turning it, and then that one got broken. I gave it out to a florist that lives close to me, and then got this on Amazon, got it fixed, and it's been working. And date now,
mm,
people have been asking for it, and I've been able to get it. It's even on Timo. You can get that on Timo. It's on Amazon. People are getting it, but we can also work
mm,
on that best available technology, encouraging local adaptation. That's the one I was using before. We just got one of these welder to do it, so they can improve on it so that the hand does, because you need to turn it so that oxygen enters into it and then it doesn't smell. So this one is
yeah.
located behind one of the bedrooms, and it doesn't smell because it has holes
Mm,
and oxygen is entering. And by the time you leave it for like 6 weeks, 2 months, you have a very rich compost ready, and whatever you plant with it is growing. So why waste
mm,
when you can use? So the
yeah.
circularity of
Uh,
home waste management
yeah.
issues.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I want okay, to go to that issue, that topic of waste. I mean, seeing that you're coming from the government background as well. I mean, how do you, and in Lagos especially, that it is a very serious issue. Looking at plastic waste and a lot of things that could actually be recycled. And unfortunately, this leads to a vicious cycle of causing so much flood during the rainy season. So coming from that government perspective, how much would you say is being done, in the with the Ministry of Environment? How
Hmm.
effective has the policies and projects been in these communities that are affected by waste? How committed are they to ensure that that issue of waste is much better, is resolved in these various communities that are vulnerable to that particular issue? What's the government doing about the situation?
Wow. Well, I can talk about Lagos, but Lagos is one of the 36 states plus FCT is there. So I worked in the federal for 23 years, and I know that there are laws. I still remember when we're implementing statutory information 15 is about solid waste management. I remember that when we go visiting to homes and industries, then we always quote we needed to know the law and know where it was. So we say SI 15 subsection 23. You should not put waste in your drains. It says the generator of waste is liable. So if you go on inspection, those were the things that were quoted, and will write letters to such facility or estate or home at the federal level then. So I quite remember that in terms of law, we have enough. NESTRA, NOSTRA, the Federal Ministry of Environment. Then coming down to the state where I retired from. Wow, just on Monday, um, the the LTV came to talk about Lagos enforcing stop using this SUP, single-use plastics, and that they are really serious. And then they came to me that what is the alternative, and I just brought out what I'm now using and what I do, and how gradually I said it's a gradual process. We're talking about public health here. We're talking about cancer. Everything is related to everything. It's just the circularity of things that is coming up. All those single-use plastics, they don't biodegrade. They don't biodegrade for 400, 500 years. They would have come here and gone. And we don't want gone too soon because of the effect of the things that we're using. It started somewhere. It was maybe we said, okay, we're growing and we're increasing in population. We want to, but it was the life of ease that we wanted that actually brought it up. Because, like, when I was going to Leeds in 1991, one of the things that I reported, they told us to come to UK with our own country story. So, and I remember that what I talked about was the fact that when we go to buy Coke, we take our crates, we leave a deposit, and then when you bring back the bottles, you collect your deposit. Say, oh, that's a nice thing. You already do, because it was on the topic was solid waste management. They then were already on curbside collection. They were already recycling and all. And I was like, wow, we'll get there. But the one that caught my fancy was the fact that food waste will become manure. So that was why I quickly picked on that to do for my own self. But basically, we can, the government is doing so much. The enforcement, like in Lagos, is on like no man's business. We have the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, cutting away the waste, and they are telling us that the dump site is full and there's no space for it. So they have registered recyclers. So the recyclers, they've given double bins in some estates, and they're enumerating more estates, and they're teaching, that you can make money from your waste. So these recyclers go to various places. They have various points. Some are even on online. Like I have, I'm on the board of one of them called Packham. You just call, you register, you put the app on your, either on your iStore or the other one. You put it on, and then you call them, you register, you call them. They ask you your quantity. Before, they didn't even used to ask quantity, but now with the increase in fuel prices, you're going to pick plastic of that is not worth it. You can't spend so much. It doesn't make economic sense. So they'll find out what volume do you have, and then look for a recycler that is close to you, and the person picks it, and then they put money in your e-wallet. In the e-wallet, you either send it to your bank, or you send it to charity, or you collect the cash, whatever you want to. But
So people
is
can
real.
actually make money from
You
this, you know?
Yes, yes. So people make money. So like my cleaner, she when she's come, like she saw cartons of something. I actually got clay pots yesterday, which is I'm so excited because we've been using all kinds of pots that causes all sorts of things. They've been lined with Teflon, PFA, and all that. So we're to go back to basics using our clay pots. I don't know what happened to us. Why we just thought our forefathers didn't know what they were doing, and that we are tush and posh, and we just generally got. Is it Oyinboish? Because the Oyimbos too, they are now going back to basics. They're doing organic. Most of them feed from their home. There was a time we went to Ireland, the place that we stayed. The lady was feeding us from our garden. It was an Airbnb. She had strawberry, she had this in her garden. So when she's done with us, she just goes into her greenhouse and starts producing her thing. So all over the world, people are choosing to eat healthy because we know that out there, so many people trying to make money are adding all kinds of colorants and things to peas, to carrot, to this. So you just want to put your own decision, your life in your hands. That's why you don't need to fully just be eating so many things that will harm you. I don't just want to mention such food so that it won't be like we're talking about a particular person. But as for government, they've done so much in terms of the laws. The laws are enough. Is the enforcement, the compliance,
Implementation.
and the implementation. But for the plastic, because while I was there, the policy came up, we defended it with the governor, it was agreed to, and it was a win-win thing that this has to go for the public health.
Question is, has alternatives been provided for especially the common people that sell food and all of that? Because now that's the bother that the basic people in society, if we're taking away the plastic, then what's the alternative that we're giving to them, especially those that use it for commercial purposes?
Okay, when we are going to the market, I remember my mom when I was young, when she's going out, she has this bag. It's so tiny because it comes like a purse. She puts it in her bag. When she's coming back, the thing stretches and stretches. Anyway, maybe because she had UK background, she gave birth to us in the UK, brought us home and all that. Maybe that's where her training came from. But she always went out with a bag. And I remember that when she goes to Lagos Island, when she's coming back, it's brown paper that she brings home. I remember that very well. When we go to the supermarket, it's containers like cartons that they used to give us the things that we buy, if you buy so much. If not, your bag that you take. And then we're using cane bags, baskets, and all that. So let's just think back. How were we doing it before? What suddenly happened? I met someone who, when I was the director of sanitation services in Lagos State, so she came, she was talking about wanting to do something, and then she mentioned nylon bags. I said, that one, and no law then on it. I'm talking about 2010 to 20, like 2012, 20. So I said, 2016, 2018. I said, why do you want to do that? She said, oh, I'm just looking for something to do, a job. I said, but this one, you, she told me the process. She'll get resin here, she'll do this, they'll just extrude it, and then all those flying about nylon will come out and all that. Then later she confessed and said, I'm just doing it to be occupied for the money. I really don't like the process and the value that is adding. How to, she just said that out of because we're gisting and explaining and all. So she's like, I'm just looking for something to do. It's not as if it's what I love to do. I think I'm contributing positively to my society. So dates, we are lovely people. We all the parties we go to, they always give us one bag or the other that we can reuse. When you are going to the market, carry it, carry your basket. They pepper this one. Now I reject nylon bags. I said, don't worry, I have one. Don't bother put it in a nylon. Put it, put it in the car because I'm going to throw it away anyway. So don't bother. And then the other day I went to, which supermarket was it? They said, oh, nylon bag is a. Do I want the bag? I just opened my bag and brought out my cloth bag. They said, oh, I said, we made the law, so we should be ready to comply. That I'm not paying any 200 for any bag, and that it doesn't biodegrade. Why don't you give us carton? Because they have carton, they sell it to people, and so they can, in other climes they will just bring out the carton, open it up for you, you go away with it, you push your cart out. So in the marketplaces where most of us really go to get our food, let's take our bags. They too can wrap it in brown papers. That's what we're using before. Then leaves in my place, I saw that turmeric leaves, they are as big as ewe moi moi. So I have ewe moi moi that is called Thermococcus danieli. That's what the ewe moi moi is called, because it comes out with something that is sugary at the end of the day, and it grows so easily. You put one stalk in the ground, before you know it, it has multiplied. So when you want to eat your rice, you just treat yourself, you put it on it. The taste is different. Then there's another leaf that grows so massive, banana leaves, plantain leaves. They can also be used. We cut them all around, they are wasting away. When we use it, we take it home, we put it in the soil again, it biodegrades. So we should not think that we're going back to stone ages. We should think that is a good thing for the environment. So it's the thought, is a mindset change that I think that we're going to. We don't need the government to put a sledgehammer on us before we know that nylon bags and all those ones that they cause cancer. We should stop taking so much of it. It's leaching into our water. We are putting it as fabric, the polyesters that we wear. Our skin is the largest organ of our body. Everything we sweat, it goes into our bloodstream. We're fighting with so many things, so many free radicals, so many things causing us sickness and disease. So the if we knock off one by one, we should be happy that we're doing something for humanity, for environment, for mother nature. We should not be saying, oh, I just want to continue in that way that I found myself. Where were we before? How did we get here? What is it that we can do to make it better? What are the alternatives? And I believe with the creativity industry, ideas will come up. People will start making bags from it. Like as we speak, Planet 3, Joke Lasisi in Ibadan, she's making bags out of wastewater sachet, all this pure water sachet. Her mom used to be an Ashoke person. So she knows how to weave things. That's how she started. And she's going places. She's going places. She's making bags for schools. She's making bags for whoever wants to do conference and wants to use waste as it. So it's just for us to wake up and begin to do things that will help the environment. While I was in PS of environment, we started what they call environmental education in schools. We have a law that says children should have time for environmental issues. All the clubs on waste management, climate change, everything was collapsed into one, environmental bees. And they have a time, and we train teachers to teach them. So those children come together, they tell them to bring waste plastic from home. They make it into a seat. We sit on it. I have one in the house. They make tires. They beautify tires, it becomes stable, you know. So those creative, we need that mindset where people will now buy such things. Like the day I brought the tire to the house, my husband was like, you want to bring the tire inside? I said, yes, it's a furniture. It has my picture on it, the glass on it. It's nice. And it's been there for like how many years? Over 5, 6 years. Still looking nice and all. The front wall, I think last week was when I changed it for, because it was there in COVID. That COVID year also, because we were home for a while, some ideas came. We put this seed, that one grows, and so that was when we cut open the water, the plastic water bottle, and planted in it, put holes in it, so it was now falling apart. I painted it, but you can imagine keeping it away from the landfill for 5 years, and I'm just changing it now to something more durable. So it's just a statement that, and then I just went to my store, those buckets that they give us in parties, those bowls that we used to wash hands, put holes under them, and started using them as planters. And they were planting things. So if you want to eat water leaf, now you just go from one pot to the other. Before you leave, your whole bowl is full and you're just eating fresh. So since it's close to you, if you need it again, you go back and take more. So you don't need to write, oh, when will I go to the market? And you now buy it. Before you eat it, it has biodegraded, and you're not eating fresh again. So there's so many advantages to just doing it in the house. But the government has done enough, especially that of Lagos, where I've worked and I'm in. As at the beginning of this week, I was still showing alternatives. Alternatives. I have paper straw in the house. They biodegrade. There's someone who at one time made bags from cellulose, the starch inside cassava, and then at 100 degrees, if you throw it inside hot water, it will dissolve and become cassava. So if you don't want it again, you dissolve it. The man, Bonnie Bio, is in Nigeria here. He's alive and well. If you allow him to thrive, he will employ a lot of people and we'll have a lot of options. So we just need to wake up the creativity area and change our mindset and decide to obey. We don't need to be flogged. We know that when we drink water, and then the attitude of human beings, especially in Lagos, we're a coastal city. There will always be flooding, but it should be flash flood for a while and then move on. So the ministry, we have the Office of Drainage Services who are constantly clearing the drains, the big drains, so that we don't clog it. But when they want to clear it and they start seeing all this plastic, so now that plastic is having money, people are picking plastic, so it has lowered, and then they are using it as empowerment. So many um, or social impact enterprise that are coming up and helping people to make money from plastics are also there. They now crush the plastics, sell it abroad. They're making money from it. So at the end of the day, the circularity will show. It will become economic empowerment for people. So compliance will be easier. So the where I want the federal government to come into is to help, set up that thing on a large scale in every city, in every state. So there is not just one state, like Lagos is banning SUP now, and our next neighbor is Ogun, and the people in Lagos, they just moved to Ogun. So it will just be like, okay, yeah, since you are not allowing us to stay, we're going elsewhere. Let's look at what it's doing to human beings. Let's see how we can help ourselves and come up with other ideas. I've also seen some chemical companies that say, oh, they can turn all those SUPs and less than 40 micron bags into fuel and use it as stabilization blocks and reuse and reduce, recycle. So we can allow them to thrive as well. Research will come in, innovation will come in, there will be jobs. So I see, for me, I see it as a win-win thing that we're getting where we should be, healthier environment, healthier people. We don't want to cut our lives short. We have great potentials. We want to live our lives to the fullest. So we should not eat wrongly. And the things that are not good for us, the government has already said it. We should not just look at it as if, oh, they're attacking me, they don't want my business to flow. No, we want to make life easier for ourselves. We don't want to be falling sick and be spending so much money in the hospital. If you go and see where they take care of people with cancer, the inconvenience, the noise, the cry, the font, it's you don't want it to happen to you. So if you don't, well, let's look at that health part of it and say, okay, what are the ways that we've been doing it in the days of our forefathers? Okay, we've increased in number. Yes, but we can do it this way. We can have that. So we expect the government to have in various local government or however they want to do it. We have where we can have a small recycling center in terms of integrated recycling center. The food waste, the plastic, the metals and all, and you get funds for it. People will do it joyfully. I know that when you are paid for something, you do it, and you know that, oh, this is waste from me. I normally throw it out. And those ideas of throwing things out of the window and all that, it will stop. That, oh, it's because government didn't put dustbin. I take a sweet wrapper. I put this sweet wrapper in my bag till I get a bin or in my pocket or whatever. So it's a matter of discipline.
Mm.
While we're waiting
All
for
right.
things to turn out the way we want it, we should also still discipline ourselves. We shouldn't say,
Mm.
oh, because somebody didn't do something right, so I'm going to mess up. No, we shouldn't do that. So that's really my take on that. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much, Ma. Yes. So, I mean, that's the final. I'm glad you really said that because I just wanted to ask the final question on, okay, what needs to be done going forward. So, thankfully, we've already had you touch on that. So, thank you so much. This has been such a very enlightening conversation, for opening our eyes to see what we can do even in our own little space. I've really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today, Ma.
Thank
So,
you.
what's critical for us to our viewers is that climate action doesn't always have to begin until you have $1 billion budget. But even from the little intentional steps we take in our homes, this story is a blueprint for resilience, one that we can see that we can guard our own food security even within our little space. So that's a wrap on today's episode of Conversations Over Coffee. I am Tonio Gubanjo. Many thanks for watching. It's bye for now.